Except that we're going to get a Tusk for another one.
So does C9 want their Alchemist? That is definitely one of the heroes they prefer. But they are up against
AA, still...
They love their AA as well. That's Teeman's... I'd say him and Puppy are probably the two players that use AA the most and potentially the best.
What's with the BM ban? They pick it up a decent amount, but...
They played it in the last set.
They played it both games in the last set. They also played Tusk both games in the last set. So they get one of them.
Would you not have banned out the Tusk?
Over BM, that's what most teams would do?
Yeah.
I would say.
But if it's their comfort pick and it sets up kills so easily, like, for example, if you go for like an AA plus stunner combo, is it better to remove the AA or is it better to remove the stunner, especially when it's a comfort pick? And it also goes into synergistic drafts, you know? Because it gives auras and scouting and all these other vision things. If you could analyze it in that way, say like, maybe Cloud9 isn't the best at scouting, or maybe they're not as good at team fight, so they rely on synergistic auras to get advantage. And maybe that's something that Newbee.Young is looking at.
Early dazzle for Cloud9 and an Undying for Newbee as we go back into the bans.
Yeah, C9 do really like the TA as of late. They ran it both games earlier. Potential ban for Newbee.Young. One of the better matchups were Shadow Fiend. You have a Tusk who could roam on him early, potentially. And Undying, not really the best counter ganker. Very good at putting pressure on in the lanes. They're going to ban the AM.
Wow.
And not just that, I've been seeing a lot of value with Undying, even in the late game now, because of Soul Rip. You'll see like a core pusher like Shadow Fiend go high ground. He'll lose half his HP. Boom, Soul Rip comes through, and he's back up to 80%. There's a lot of value there, even in the late game from Undying right now.
Yeah, so they see the Darkseer ban, and I guess immediately, like, I don't know. They may want to try to sneak the AM in for Ritsu. It feels like Newbee.Young just don't want to get out late gamed right now.
Well, they also want to make sure that Cloud9's forced to 5-man. With the anti-mage, you have a luxury of delaying the game and not fighting when you don't want to.
And they have Shadow Fiend Undying, so their 5-man's already quite scary.
They also banned the Gyro. Gyro's pretty good versus Undying, and is also good against the 5-man sort of style.
So do they want the Ritsu Ember? Do they go TA?
I mean, Ember's okay against Shadow Fiend.
They run him safe lane sometimes when he plays Ember as well.
Okay.
So.
I wouldn't say it's good versus Undying. It's more of a liability. If you do Ember safe lane, then Undying +1, you know, Ember's going to get some decreased farm. He could get killed in his lane. I'm not a huge fan of that personally. And at the moment,
why not Alk?
It doesn't really counter either of them.
I'm leaning towards Alk is also a possibility. They ran Alk and TA together in one of their earlier drafts.
They did lose that game.
They did lose.
But it was an offline.
I mean, greedy. This is Cloud9. They're trying to get 9 Midases a game.
Yeah. That was an offline Alchemist, I believe.
So Lone Druid for double Midas is what you're saying?
Yes, that is the value. Then you need a few Refresher Orbs, maybe an Arc Warden. I guess
Nobody
they need
knows
Cyborg
what that
Max.
is, man. Come on.
Oh.
That's going to be like Oracle.
All these plebs who haven't played Dota.
The hero's going to be like 4 years deep, and everybody's going to be like, what does Arc Warden do? I don't know.
Disgusting.
Who cares?
Okay, they do go Ember.
Dire team pick.
It's a pretty good Ember game so far, aside from maybe the lanes, but they have 0 lockdown for him right now.
Still, they can pressure him with the Undying in the off lane, so it's...
I don't know.
It's a nice aggressive carry, though.
Yeah,
I like it more than the...
It's another option to split pushing as well. If they're worried about an anti-mage, Ember can do the same thing. He was doing it earlier. Put a Remnant down by your team, BOT is the opposite side of the map, push a little bit, go back.
C9 plays very long games. Looking at like their last 10 matches, 53-minute game, 41-minute game. One of the lowest here is 39, 47 minutes, 48 minutes. This team generally does play for late game. They build a lot of Midases. They draft a little bit greedier. But it looks to me like Newbee.Young want to apply pressure and play a very up-tempo game. And that's something that C9 have to be very careful about.
Probably need some better lockdown for Ember Spirit, though.
Get the Shaker. Definitely need more. There's Disruptor still out there.
But then you're getting into territory where Tusk becomes more and more useful. Heroes that are conventionally have good lockdowns are also very squishy. So
true.
They open themselves up for vulnerabilities there. I would say just go for the aggressive dual lane at this point personally. That's the matchup that they can most exploit in the draft right now. Yeah, it's with a Dazzle, I guess. That's a little scary, but Dazzle does start peaking off after the level 3, level 4.
So you think Undying +1 in the offlane then?
Yeah, I think that's probably the safe way to go.
They get the Ember and the TA. So, I mean, as I mentioned, these are heroes that C9 really prefers. It looked like they wanted TA when they banned Darkseer and Juggernaut, since those are two of the better ways to remove Refraction, but don't often see these two heroes together on a team, especially on the Radiant side.
It's not too bad. They have a lot of physical damage right now. Walrus Punch, Dazzle Ult, Dazzle Heal, Ember, and TA. So they can definitely focus down high HP targets, even if they have BKB. And that's kind of nice. Dealing with Undying, for example, shouldn't be horrible this game.
All right, so what do Newbee.Young do here? If they want to run at C9, if they want to be aggressive early.
They tried Spirit Breaker earlier, but it's not that great versus the Ember Spirit. They had a lot more success with the Lion, I would say. And their support player is just absolutely insane on the Lion.
Yeah, I would agree. Wow.
This is some damage over time.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot, actually.
Nova, Diabolic Edict, yeah, that'll work pretty well. You can set up stuns for Tough Snowball too. I like it.
It's also really good at pushing down towers. It looks like they're actually trying to take a more aggressive route, realizing Cloud9, not that much AoE, not that much anti-push until Ember Spirit gets big.
It's the first Leshrac we've had.
Really?
Yep.
Well,
This is the Disco Pony has just disappeared in 6.85.
I think Newbee.Young was actually a team that in the last couple weeks was picking Leshrac sometimes.
Alliance ran it once for S4 that I remember in this patch and actually did extremely well. You're right, Kevin. They did. They won one game with it, 29 minutes, quite quickly.
So this
That's
could
what
be
they're
the
looking to
push strat.
do, aren't they? That's what they're looking to do in this game.
They've got decent lockdown, Fissure into Split Earth. Maybe I would like something else though, because Fissure's on such a long cooldown.
The Yols is nice against Ember just to purge off the Flame Guard.
Really good point.
What does C9 go for at this point?
Does Leshrac really offer that much more, though, than a support Lina, aside from more instances to pop Refraction, or is that the only reason why they pick Leshrac over the Lina?
Lesh could push earlier as a support.
I think that's why. Yeah.
Even Fiery Soul, I would say, is like not that bad at pushing towers down.
Yeah.
But
No, not early game. You don't have the mana to spam the spells.
But they're really bad against Refraction before that pick. What do they have? Just Soul Rip? That's basically
Zombies are okay.
Zombies are decent. Requiem of Souls.
Hey, with the Shadow Blade, anything's possible.
The Wyvern's banned out.
I mean, I don't think Cloud9 fears the Lesh too much, though, because the hero is definitely weak to physical damage and minus armor, which they have plenty of.
And Newbee don't have like those amazing defensive supports. They have decent ones, but they don't have like a Dazzle or a Wyvern potentially.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I like the Wyvern ban a lot. You're up against Ember, TA, even the Walrus Punch.
That would have been great with Leshrac. High HP, just heal up. What's the solution here? I'm thinking
I'm just going to
Venom
throw
or
this in
something.
here, right? Because
Go
there's no chance of this coming out. I miss techies. I'm just saying.
Hey, you know,
That's pretty much just you, man.
if Dota Cinema was in this tournament, you might actually see it. Hey, you always played it. But it didn't work. So then they stopped picking it.
You picked the new one?
Yeah, he picked techies in 6.85.
Oh, wow.
It was not the same.
That's a brave person.
Interesting.
Or a lunatic.
They got 4 seconds.
And
Okay.
the Nyx.
I like that. Gives them a stun. It's very good if it's a Leshrac core, can mana burn. Very good at finding solo kills.
Seen a couple of good Nyx games already.
Very annoying to zone as well, in general.
Yeah.
Still not great versus the push, though. I think Newbee.Young just like go all in on the 5-man, taking out all the towers, get the
All right,
early
so then
mech.
what's the hero? What is the ultimate 5-man hero to round this out?
They need a position 1. Juggernaut would have been really good for the sustain, but they don't have that anymore.
So you think it's a support Lesh then?
I assume so. I haven't really seen that much success with core Leshes. Have you guys?
I feel like support Lesh is going to feed super hard this
Nobody's
game,
picking
though.
the hero, especially
Is it-
against a Nyx.
Isn't a core Lesh even worse, though?
I'd
he's
rather do
tankier.
core over support. But, I mean,
Because they can't really run ES and Undying both supports, right? So
Well, they run what?
so Offlane
Yeah.
Undying or Shaker.
That's true.
I just feel like it has to be a core.
It feels like they need a little... Yeah. Okay, this
All right.
Razor. So, interesting.
So I guess it is a support Lesh, most likely.
This can really dominate TA as well.
Okay, Newbee.Young, Cloud9, game 1 on its way over to Toby and Sinrin.
Thank you very much, Paul. Yes, it is game 1 of our best of 3 to find out who will be the losers of losers. And who
That's
can go
a very, very pessimistic way of
It
looking
is.
at it.
It's a negative part, but I have written here. It is the losers match, man. It is the losers match.
Somebody got to lose.
But at least you're the A losers match, not the B losers match.
That's true.
Yeah. So
Nobody is
upsides.
out.
No, yeah,
entirely.
no one can get out during the group stage. It's all about being put into the grid. So you want to be in the top 2, you want to be in the best of 3s, you do not want to be in the best of 1 and be part of the potential 4 teams eliminated on the first day of the main play. So avoid that if possible. Obviously.
Yep.
Newbee.Young, the panel was swayed, Melini was swayed, so I was swayed because of that. I was actually swayed just based on the performance of Newbee.Young in Game 1 up against Team Secret, and they really showed throughout that entire series just how much talent they've got in their lineup, their ability to function as a squad. Like, you had the references next to CDEC. I was talking to Purge about this previously. It's like, it feels a lot like CDEC, but it feels like the timing's a little bit later. Like, they don't hit that same stride as CDEC hit, but they've got the potential to do so. And that's where Cloud9 kind of have to stop that potential.
I still think it's a very big statement to say they're as good as CDC before we've seen them play more games. They
second
really,
to TI, it's Newbee.Young.
The really impressive thing about CDEC was that, like, when you saw them play the play-in, the wildcard round, I don't think many people expected them after that to go top 4, or maybe not even top 8.
Yeah.
I mean, they played solidly, and some people were playing around the idea, like, this team is actually really good, but it was still close, right? And then they just got better and better. And through the tournament, they learned a lot. That's what I'm looking for from Newbee.Young. Can they do the same, or do they come in explosively, and then when they start losing games, do they lose confidence, or can they keep it up? That's what championship teams do. So we're going to see. I personally favor their draft quite a lot here. I think they have the ability to take towers very early between this Leshrac and Undying and Shadowfiend and Razor. Like, all of these 4 heroes are really good at pushing towers. And Cloud9, in my opinion, just don't have a very good defensive lineup.
They really don't. Like, you think about the clearance. You don't have heroes like Rubik, for example, who can Feybolt and drive the creep waves down. You're going to rely on Shards and Side of Fist and Side Blades to do the work. The next assassin can't clean that up. So maybe we have to look at it from the other angle. Newbee.Y want to attack, Newbee.Y want to push. Is that when C9 actually have to do the opposite? Like, they have to attack themselves. You get that next assassin up to level 6, instantly into Vendetta, instantly rotating, taking the leaf out of the Book of Misery early today. He's got the Nyx up, level 6 happens, and he's instantly into Vendetta, instantly looking for that kill. I
think if possible, they want to skirmish. That's what their lineup is good at. And it's also interesting to see that Newbee first phase banned the Beastmaster for that reason. It's Cloud9's preferred playstyle, is playing around that Beastmaster. They did it against LGD with pretty good success. But this time around, obviously not going to have it. I do agree. Using the Nyx kind of as a Beastmaster in this game would be great.
Wow, they're giving a lot of damage over to this Razor, willingly. So they're trying to bait him out to try and attack.
I do run 3 heroes here, but
he walks straight into him. Yeah. But it's 42 damage, gives a lot of confidence, but he's got boots and can't get his way out of here. Has to cut through the tree line down to 140 life. Regenerating quickly, and the Earthshaker was just a little bit too far away. In fact, because of this, he's missed his pull timing. Like, he moved over to try and help out his Razor, and he's missed the timing because of that.
Oh, wait a second. They're actually farming the Undying and not the Leshrac. I'm not sure if that's the right call in this game, though, for Newbee in this offlane. I get the idea that the Leshrac can very easily zone away the Nyx, but I think Undying can do the same. Just spam decay and keep hitting him in his face. And it looks like now they're swapping around. Interesting, they just gave Undying the first 4 CS, and they're like, wait, maybe it's better if we do this the other way around? And Leshrac will take some CS as well.
Would early boost really help the Undying to get the advantage over the Nyx? Like, maybe that's what they're considering.
Yeah, it could be. I was thinking the same thing. Maybe they just give him 1 wave for to accomplish that. And it does indeed look like Leshrac has taken the priority here. So, yeah, good enough.
And with
MSS
the lightning,
taking quite a bit of damage here. Of course, Nyx has incredible regen, and then he has double mangoes.
Nice body block. Spy Carapace, though, is a bit of a pain in the butt, but with the lightning going again, they trigger off that mango, and that's going to get the first blood over to Newbee.Y. They really were just setting that one up. Meanwhile, on top lane, the snowball going after that Razor. Searing changes out, and the Courier's also being sniped up by 1437 at the same time. Savage going to give a lot of damage over to this Razor. He tries to pump it into the Tusker, but he can't stay alive long enough. Not with the Ember hot in his trail.
And this should be very key information for Brax in the mid lane. The fact that Razor wasn't helped by Shaker at all means that Brax is in danger, but he's not really playing accordingly. He's going to get blocked off here by the Fissure. But SC, without a really good avenue of engaging this TA, will have to let him go. Brax thinks he can get the bottom rune. He's very wrong. That's his bottle.
That's
gotta hurt so much. The mid lane is lost now. They have to help him. He has to go back to base and doesn't have bottle.
Does he even survive this? That's boots versus no boots. This is a potential kill for an Undying. With Soul Rip available and the creep wave leaving, like, he could commit more decays to try and kill off this TA, and there it comes.
Yep. And the next wave
he waited it out. Like, there was decay back off cooldown. Now with Leshrac arriving, gets the lightning kill, and Newbee.Y will take a second kill after sniping up the bottle. Savage can try and snowball into an Undying, but he's got Tombstone available as well as decay. This won't be a kill.
This is the new Na'Vi. Diving tier 2s at minute 3. Nice.
I want Newbee.Y to stay together.
Oh, some good aggression at the very least here.
LE also gets a solo kill on the Ember Spirit underneath the tier 1 tower. Hit the stun, hit the lightning, hit the tower for the extra damage, and
he should be top of the net worth. Yeah, he is, because he killed the richest hero on the enemy team on this last 2-0-1. Great start here for Newbee.Young.
Already over 400 gold per minute, Leshrac. He's at least equal with the Ember Spirit. But this is not the start C9 we're thinking of. And now Savage has spent so much time rotating. Like, he's walked all the way from bottom lane up to the top lane to try and counter a Leshrac. And they are going to snowball on him. The stun will be able to follow up here from the Leshrac with the lightning follow-up. Savage taking way too much damage underneath the tower. The Shallow Grave will keep him alive. There's no more lightning for the Leshrac to spam out. So Savage will remain alive, but he's got no life. He has to go back to base.
Who was TPing in and cancelled it? I think he should have completed that one to try to kill the Tusk.
For his bottom lane, I would agree with the TP cancel because they can add the pressure onto this Nyx Assassin.
That's a good point. They can still threaten Mojo here quite a bit. Tusk will decide to just die to neutrals to get back to base faster. Right call here. It is still faster because he's only level 2. So free trip back to base. And yeah, MSS is gonna have a very hard time here against Gigi on the Razor. So I think everything is going according to plan for Newbee.Young. And the reason this is worrying already for Cloud9 fans out there is that this Newbee.Young lineup has the potential to take all the towers very early. And for Cloud9, in order for them to defend, Nyx needs to have at least some sort of item so he can position himself for a good impale. And they probably also need Ember Spirit to have some sort of damage item in order to start holding the towers. If Ritsu rushes Boots of Travel, they're probably losing all their tier 1s at the very least for that.
But maybe that's what they have to accept. The fact they can't defend the tier 1 towers and just go into BTs. And try and play the split push game, because that'll at least stop the tier 2 towers from dropping, if you can keep those side lanes pressured. And with a good start, like, you've already got some good boots up and running, Leshrac can just keep pushing the issue, but he's gone for a 2-0-3 build, which is a lot more combat oriented, so he's expecting Cloud9 to try and defend these towers. And this Nyx still, okay, they're going. The Undying, however, is here. He's going to Soul Rip him back up again. The Razor, however, that Fissure, is he going to buy him enough space with the Tombstone down? It actually does do so. And that support came quickly, and a 3-man decay hit as well. So they didn't have a lot of life to fight with C9.
Did Cloud9 even port in a fourth hero here? I think they did. So yep. They're going to have to rotate around with Nyx up here. So that's 2 TPs used. And Nyx is kind of not really going to an enjoyable lane either. Usually you would say, oh, Nyx is great up against Leshrac in a one-on-one matchup. You have mana burn, you can pressure him quite a bit. He ports up here with no mana. He doesn't have mana burn. And this Leshrac is out-leveling him too. So this is a very difficult lane for Nyx to be in.
Like, even if he had stick charges, it might be a little bit more doable, but...
You have been denied.
Yeah, this is so troublesome for C9. Like, you got SC as well, who's sitting equal with the Razor and the Ember Spirit for CS, but he's got a couple of stacks which are being prepared right now by MR. So he's got that flash farming capability as well. So you give flash farm, you give early towers. Maybe this will be the first game we've seen SF build a mech in a while. Because most of the SFs we've seen here in the mainstream have just gone directly into SMY. It's more of the combat style.
Yeah, I feel like when you're playing Shadow Fiend and Razor on the same team, most of the time, if Razor's getting the better farm, I would prioritize putting the mech on him. He needs... I think he has enough mana pool with just the tread switch, and you rather have your Shadow Fiend be able to use his Razors twice and get a good Requiem off. In addition, he also just scales faster and better. Since he can farm faster, being able to get the Sanjin Yasha ramps him up more than Razor would with the same item choice.
Yep. I agree.
And he also just hits a lot harder.
Top lane, Vendetta attack's going to come in. Razor, how much life has he got with the snowball arriving? Not enough. The shards will lock him in a nicey prison of death. And this will now be Cloud9 getting something back. Maybe we're looking towards that mid lane, but MR just walks straight past it. He comes to check the top rune. He actually had an opportunity because Brax had no refraction charges up. So SC could have just piled in the damage with the razors into him.
One thing I want to commend Cloud9 on that I also did in their series against LGD. I mean, okay, fair enough. In this match, it's probably too early to say, but a thing I noticed against LGD is that they're very good at staying composed. I feel like historically, a lot of American teams, one of their weaknesses has been lack of leadership and some sort of team feeling about what they need to do when and how to move around and stay together as a unit. And I think it's just the leadership of 1437 that you can feel in their games. Against LGD, even when they were far behind or decently far behind, they still made some really good moves and didn't tilt. So I think as long as they don't lose the early game too hard, the mid game can be very close for Cloud9 with this kind of draft. I'm still not sure if I favor them because, once again, I like Newbee.Young's approach to this game very much.
You at least know he wouldn't have something like complete mistakes just coming out of panic from Cloud9, which means we should see good Dota coming into the mid game at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not what we had yesterday for our series. Sorry, I got a lot of bitterness. I apologize. I'm looking forward to when this game finally erupts. Like, we are on 2-3 right now. Newbee.Y moving into that position where they can get a lot more aggressive. That headdress is done over on the Razor, so you already got a little bit of extra aura to help you push. The SF just finished his flash farming. So Treads won Aquila bottle up before the 10-minute mark, and he is the top net worth at 4,000.
Oh, he does not want to go for this rune. He indeed does not want to go for this rune.
Not with the Tuskar there. Nyx Assassin's trying to find the stack, but he's just a little bit too late. Running around inside the dire jungle onto this Vendetta. He'll come back into the lane, but he's going to find MR. Or I should say MR will find him if he's not careful. But they just start the pull, and 1437 is just desperately trying to leech some experience from the top lane. He won't be lucky enough for that. In fact, Ritsu's coming into... Okay, he's going to separate the towers and allow Cloud9 to attack into this tier 1 tower with a little bit of knowledge what's behind them. And this SF does not want to allow this to happen, but Savage wants him to come out. Able to do this, you can snowball initiate onto that Shadow Fiend. There's no Requiem available right now for SC.
It is a very difficult kill, though. There's a shadow, a shadowless rack behind him, ready with a stun. He's gonna go in for the Tusk. He's probably gonna have to snowball away.
Savage takes a lot of damage for this. He's still snowballing into the Shadow Fiend, but he's so deep with the Lightning and Fissure. It's a simple race to kill, and they do minimal damage to the tier 1 tower. They do force the rotations out from Newbee.Y, but they don't bring in Razor, so they're not delaying the mech this way.
He's going to have it pretty soon, by the looks of it. Probably
he's going to see Nyx.
13-14.
Nyx is MSS is underneath the sentry ward.
Oh, are they going to respond to this?
Well, the stun will connect, but he's already removing the extra damage.
Radiant's middle tower.
They don't want to respond. They're taking the tier 1 in mid.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Level 1 Edict, not that scary though. And TPs will come in from Cloud9, but that's what Newbee want. They just want to force rotations, get some information about Cloud9's whereabouts, and just go back to pushing out lanes and farming for a bit longer. This brute forcing of towers depends a lot on, first of all, on dying, being in a good position for the tombstone. I think higher level of soul rip will help a lot, and of course the mech needs to be available, and that's when they hit their prime.
Nice and cheeky from Ritsu. He ended up stealing the stack that Newbee.Y had prepared for SF.
Oh, they have a nice stack on the Ancients too. For Brax here. He's probably going to go farm it now on the TA. That's his level 10, and a good, I don't know, 1,200 gold this year? Maybe that's it. No, that's exaggerating a bit. I think it's about 1,000.
It should still be the Mithril Hammer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. It is a Desto game, right?
Middle tower is under attack.
Or is it worthwhile going for a blink? Be the aggressor to keep up with the Tuskar?
I don't think Blink is the choice because he can't engage into the enemy team right now. They have to play the farming game, the slower game, and then just get some good Sideblade hit. Yeah, okay. That's a dead Dazzle.
Yeah. He came in through the weave down, thought he had the confidence just to walk in front of the SF, but it's the Classico combo. Fissure into a couple of razors. A very simple kill. And now they also take the tier 1 tower with no contest. And they have to defend the top tower. That move forward. It's MSS standing up and controlling the Razor, but 3 heroes TP in.
And they're actually perfectly fine with TPing to save this Razor, because they wanted to go there anyway. This tower is the next on the list. Undying now in a good position to drop a tombstone here. Maybe left of this tower would be a good spot for it. He's holding on to it for now.
I don't think he even need it.
It's just so nice at nighttime because of how much vision this actually gives. I think it's an aspect of the skill that a lot of players underestimate, how much it really does when you drop a tombstone next to the tower. I can't remember how long the flying vision is. I feel like it's a radius of like 800 to 1,000 that he sees when he drops it. But he's holding on to it, doesn't need it, like you said. Looks like, so Newbee.Young.
It's one of those times when you ask the question, like, is it worth committing like mass serpent wards to take this out?
It's a little bit different because this is a 60-second cooldown, and mass serpent wards is like twice.
Yep.
And 60 seconds is generally the time it will take you to transition back, farm a little bit, and go to bottom. Then you'll have it again when you need it. So now they have it for defense, though, if Cloud9 are looking to go on the aggressive. But I really don't think they are. Their lineup can't do that right now.
But they have to be ready to fight. Like, even if it's not aggressive, they have to have the damage in order to fight up against Newbee.Young. You get a Shadow Blade on the SF, this flags even more exactly what this SF wants to do. He can just Shadow Blade down, pop the Requiem, and kill this Ember Spirit. Flame Guard or no Flame Guard, he's winding up. The Fitcher, okay, pulled out that Requiem at the last moment. Emma needed a little bit more control.
Ritsu is going for Boots of Travel on Ember. This is something I've talked about on previous occasions, that I feel like a lot of the times players autopilot their item builds, that they just follow a script, and I think some of the best players very often change their item builds around to fit the situation, whereas others don't think so much about it. In this case, you could argue that he should try to go for a fighting build so they can defend their towers, but I honestly think he does need to get these Boots of Travel just to ramp up his farm and split push some more, since these 5-mans, even if he has, like, say, a fighting item like Drum or rushing a Battle Fury, it's not going to be enough for them to take the fights. They have to concede Roshan as well. This is really not that good for Cloud9, but I don't think they have a choice.
Yep. They're just getting the best trade-off they can. Like, TA takes out the mid tower, that gives her Desolator now. Ritsu straight back to farming up the top lane. But the Aegis Immortal is going to allow Newbee to just keep pressuring. Like, pushing towards a tier 2 tower now, so C9 will still be forced to fight, but at least they got that injection of money from the mid tower, the extra farm they got from the side lanes, so they know what they're up against. It's a hard ask anyway, but they've got the items to work with.
Yeah, they got the TA Deso now. That's a pretty big deal that this flies out for Brax, but they are a mech down, and of course the Undying factor is massive 16 minutes into the game.
Well, they're coming over. Ritsu's going to be the first one to get caught out, just getting decayed. Steering chains over on the Undying. Undying still doesn't have this tombstone available, but with the stun from LE and the follow-up Fisher, Ritsu, he gets out to the defensive spirit. The snowball will chase after MR, but they can't go any further than this. And in fact, Undying, they've still got this Vendetta Nyx Assassin waiting to attack. He goes for the damage on the Lash as well as the stun. There's a lot of life to get through, but Brax is able to do so. That TA, until the Echo Slam controls him up, there's no refraction charge to protect. So it's a 1-for-1 trade-off. Ritsu able to TP himself out in time. The Spirit's there, but MSS is just food to the Shadow Fiend. Ember Spirit does not want to come back to that remnant he left on the top.
That was such a nice combination play from Newbee, though, on the opening on Ember. Very impressive. They drop the Split Earth from the Fog of War, then they follow up with a Fissure from the flank, and then all their other spells, and they almost killed Ritsu. If he dies there, the fight is way, way worse for Cloud9, but they end up getting away with a 2-for-1 exchange. I think they should be pretty happy with that still. But of course, TA, one of the casualties, does not bode well for them. They kind of need him to keep staying on par with the Shadow Fiend if possible, as the other heroes from Newbee.Young are starting to pull ahead of their counterparts on the other team.
Especially when TA is that snowball hero. Like the one hero that can dictate the pace of the game and give space for Ember Spirit to get to that Battle Fury.
Yeah.
And right now, Ritsu, like, he only barely lived through that engagement. You start adding new items onto the back of SC. Like, he's got the Yasha sitting inside the stash at the moment. Well, sorry, I should say on the courier at the moment.
And the main concern is actually MRR closing in on his Blink Dagger, because this is probably a 21-minute blink for the Shaker. That's the best counter they have to Ember, and it's a really good one because the total lockdown between all of his spells is like 5-6 seconds, I think, when you add them all up, if you layer them perfectly with the Aftershock. It's good stuff.
Keep the farm coming. Newbee.Y, nowhere near this Cloud9 smoke gank. The TA tribes are down, but there's no deep observer wards for Cloud9, so they don't understand where Newbee.Y is at the moment. Like, they have a defensive observer ward sitting inside their own jungle. But with this trip, like, they've only got one sentry themselves, which belongs to MSS. So this trip can't even plant down an aggressive observer ward watching the stacks of Newbee.Y. They understand that they're not there, so now they take out the tier 1 tower. And Newbee.Y try and answer back by attacking into the mid. So the tier 1 tower, that's now the second tower that Brax has taken out this game. But they're going to lose a mid. No doubt about it. And you actually wonder, like, can Newbee.Y keep going here? You got 2 points up on Edict, you got a gem, in fact, over on LE. And that Aegis Immortal is still in the hands of the SF. So he's ready to attack in.
They need to be careful with Ice Shards. That's the dangerous spell right now that can catch them off and block their path. Of course, Brax will trade as much as he can.
He's trading a lot.
Yeah, this is a good TP from Newbee. They have to hold that tower now.
Can Brax even run out of this? He's just got a TP. There's no stuns to stop this. In fact, the Aegis Immortal's already been popped back in mid. The SF getting caught out, can't get away. They throw down the 2 sentry wards. So, not the greatest clicks, but they do bring down the Shadow Fiend anyway.
Double visible. And they get him.
I see all.
Tower denied by Newbee, but this was really, really good for Cloud9. They also get a deny in the top tier too. Like, sure, the towers get denied, but they fall. Cloud9 getting trades. They get the Aegis, basically a little bit of a freebie here from Newbee.Young. Just a few of those mistakes, and Cloud9 are starting to look a lot better in this game. They pulled back quite a big part of the advantage right there.
And in fact, it's going to be the next assassin to pick up the Blink Dagger at the same time as the Earthshaker. So the timings are coming back to each other. It was still a fairly heavy advantage going the way of Newbee.Young. Like, it was at 4k before. With these towers going down, we swing back up to about 2k. So there's very little in this game between the two teams. It still feel like in the Newbee court.
Yeah.
As far as who's going to serve up the rhythm of this game. They're the ones that can push. They're the ones that have a lot of aggression behind themselves. Now, you've already got Glimmer Caves, Blink Daggers. The Lash is in a fairly comfortable position, going for that early earn. So more direct damage as well.
They definitely need more health on him. I'm surprised he doesn't have more than he does. He is 5th to last on the net worth. That is also 6th. But very close to being even further down. And considering how their laning stage went, he should have
middle.
Oh,
they catch out TA. Well, TA, that bloody refraction keeps them out. Allowing for the blink away to safety as Savage goes directly to the middle of the fight. They've still got the Undying ulti going off, and you've got already 2 heroes. Well, actually, not just yet. That Nyx Assassin barely alive, hiding inside the Vendetta. Now there's 2 heroes dropping. The TA just could not run anymore. But that's 50 seconds without a Templar Assassin. Yeah, you got no Aegis of the Immortal. And no Eye of the Storm, but they go for their objectives outside the base. It's the tier 2 tower on top.
If they had the creep wave with them in mid, more than just the siege creep, I think they would have gone for the tier 3. But this is definitely a take. I'm a little bit surprised about the Undying maxing Decay in this game instead of Soul Rip. The spell scales incredibly well, Soul Rip, down to a 6-second cooldown. And the insane thing about Decay maxing this early is if you can grab an Aghanim Scepter, but he went in another direction here with Glimmer Cape into what seems to be a medallion, probably all the way to a crest. And in those cases, very often will this Soul Rip just be, I would argue, more powerful than Decay, but he's making it work, so...
So what do you really gain? Like, you're getting an extra 120 damage.
Yeah, it also lowers the cooldown a lot, so that's great. So then it's about, what do you prioritize? Do you prioritize stealing away strength from enemies or having that burst heal for an ally? And I would say when you're playing against TA, a burst heal for an allied Shadow Fiend, for example, makes a really big difference.
At the same time, taking away all the life of C9 so quickly in these fights really enables the Razor and the SF to find kills too.
That's true.
So it's, yeah.
It's not a...
It's 6 of one,
it's
half
not an
of
obvious
the other.
choice.
Yeah.
It varies from game to game. Alright, Haste Rune going the way of Savage.
Nice.
Can't really use it for anything right now.
There's your life on the Lash. He didn't go the point boost, however. He went in for the VIP booster instead. As MSS, Blink Dagger's in, attacking into the SF, but this is 1500 life you're trying to burn through.
I don't think he was trying to do that. That's a little ambitious. But at least put some pressure and just get information. They get the fissure out.
There's space. And we have to keep looking back to Ritsu, don't we? Like, it's 200 gold away from having the Battle Fury done.
That's a really big deal. I think Cloud9, all things considered with their draft, have actually played a pretty good game. I feel like the cards were stacked against them for the first 20 minutes, and the fact that they haven't lost to tier 3 yet and only given away 1 Roche might be good enough.
And they're the ones to do the first real damage to a tier 3 tower.
Yep.
Removing 300 HP off that tower. Brax just blinks away to safety and then back to farming the Dire Jungle. Newbee.Y are actually in a position where if they go for a trade-off, almost a race against C9, they're probably going to be coming up second.
Yeah, the Templar is very, very quick at pushing this.
Especially with that Deso.
Well, if this is an Aghanim Scepter building up for Razor, I don't think they're second anymore. But I don't know yet. It might be a BKB. Obviously a great choice against mainly the Tusk and the Nyx. To just allow him free movement. And what he really wants to do in the fight is just latch onto the TA. Static link her all the way down and render her pretty much useless for a very long duration.
Ritsu, blink, Echo Slam, follow-up stuns. Ritsu's down. MSS came in for the extra stuns. It was a good one too because he got LE. So that gen is too far away.
Interesting tombstone placement.
Might have thought that C9 would come over the hill and try and attack, but they don't want to do that. Brax is already pushing the top lane. Like, it's forcing Newbee.Y to come home.
Dyer's
Oh, yeah, Roshan's going to respawn though.
Wait, are they not? They're going in. They're going down mid. They're going to get weaved up pretty early on. Maybe they're just trying to force the buyback on the Ember, but it doesn't exist. But they also don't have their own tombstone.
It's dangerous for them to overstay like this when they're woven. They have to let Weave expire, and then they can try to look for it again. But at that point, Ember's back. So good play from 1437 there, just striking some fear into their hearts. They're going to pull away and probably check Roshan on the way back. And when they see that, that is the place for them to fight. Undying is, once again, incredible for this kind of stuff, when you, especially when you're on the Dire. Very easy access to the arguably one of the best tombstone spots in the game, namely this one up here on the hill. I don't know if you can even see
I can draw for
yeah, I don't know.
Flip side up here.
Not really visible. The tombstone up there, very difficult for the enemy team to access. It still spawns zombies very nicely in the Roshan area and even onto Roshan. And Roshan will also prioritize hitting zombies if they're closer than heroes, so you don't even take damage for fighting him, which is really, really good.
Speaking of damage, when SF walks around with this Pack Wolf aura, because he's dominated an Alpha Wolf, he's hitting so hard. Over almost 270 damage for this SF. Wait until he starts getting damage dealing items. If this TA is caught with refraction down, she's just going to evaporate. Same for the Ember Spirit as well. That Flamecast's not going to protect him enough. And for Roshan, well, that damage is going to work. They take out the Sigil, and now the control kicks in.
Yeah, but this is a very quick takedown. The 4 levels in presence of the Dark Lord, the Alpha Wolf, Edict. Pretty quick take. They're trying to get whatever trade they can, but Razor's actually on defense. Good call here from Newbee to keep 1 hero in base. They didn't need all 5 for this Roshan. And it's going to go the way of the Shadow Fiend. Now, something I saw earlier today when Cloud9 were playing against LGD was LGD had 2 cores getting Manta Styles against TA just to break the refraction. Shadow Fiend was one of them. I can't remember what the other core they did it on was. I think it was an Ember as well. There were other reasons in that game than just refraction though, especially for Ember. But I'm wondering if we're going to see the same from Shadow Fiend. He could disassemble his Sanjin Yasha into a Manta if he wants to counter TA really hard, and it also gives him a way of breaking out of Searing Chains.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you're talking about Meld, right?
Oh, what's that?
You're talking about Meld, right? To break the Meld?
No, break Searing Chains. But yeah, it's also good against Meld. But just removing refraction aggressively and then having it against Chains and Meld defensively is nice.
All right,
yeah,
that's it.
Absolutely.
Cool.
But we'll see. Alternative item choices are just, tanking up and going for maybe a Scotty so you can try to reach high ground. He could try the Satanic. He already has the Dominator. I think that's a little bit too heavy on the defensive side. What I'm saying is he has a lot of options, Toby, and actually a lot of them are just very, very good.
I agree. There's so many different paths he can take. For now, the path though before Newbee.Y is still that one of aggression. Like, you've got the Aegis Demol in your hands again. Last time SC, the Aegis popped and it was kind of like nothing was really achieved with it. They already took out the towers. The Aegis wasn't really the catalyst to making that happen. Now you've only got 1 remaining tier 2 tower on the map. The objective is to then just force out the bottom lane. The rest of Newbee.Y can go roaming, ganking, or they use SF as bait. Like, he's level 16 in a moment. So then you got a level 3 Requiem. In fact, TA is waiting with BKB as well as Desolator.
Just kind of regret going on this
They're
guy,
ready to jump, but you've got Earthshaker right behind.
Wow.
In fact, Earthshaker walks in, but he's melted up. So C9, they understand that MR is sitting in the trees. The Weave will come, and MR, he doesn't even get the stun off. There's enough attacks in time that the TA will get the kill, triggers the BKB charge for it.
Man, that's a really good read from Cloud9 that they could just... That the Shadow Fiend would probably get some backup and someone would go in there.
I think it was lucky,
Right
though.
well.
That exact corner. But the Earthshaker could have sat anywhere.
Oh, and it is the best spot to defend the Shadow Fiend from, to be fair. I'm not sure if it was the idea originally, but I think when they saw the movement coming in, they were like, okay, there's a pretty good chance this is going to work, and they get the kill. Brax very wisely using the BKB. I think that could have turned on his head if Shaker just turned on him with his full combo and got some backup from the TPs. It's a little thing. It's just a Shaker kill, but anyway. Anything matters right now for Cloud9.
Ellie ended up delaying his Bloodstone. Decided to go for the Ghost Scepter. Probably the only way he can survive against this TA in the early stages.
Snowball?
Yep, going after SC, but the Sentry Ward's not quick enough. SC's already able just to run himself out of here. And again, it's that Aegis the Immortal kind of thing. You need to have the Sentries of the Dust after a pops to make sure you can catch him out. And what have they got? Like, they've still got... Okay, they popped down another Sentry. So there's one Sentry left on 1437, but there's no other reveal available. Not even Ember. 3k gold on the Ember too. Let's say we get the choice from Razor. It was the BKB, not the Aghanim Scepter next, however. He's going in for what looks to be an Assault Cuirass. Potentially Shivas.
Yeah, more ability to breach high ground, more minus armor for the Shadow Fiend to hit hard, Edict to work. Like, they have a lot of physical damage between their heroes, actually. Edict is pretty good. The Tombstone Zombies, not that significant, but everything at the end of the day does add up here.
It makes for the death ball of Newbee.
Yeah, basically, they want to, before it's too late, they want to 5-man and probably try to take at least one lane, since super late game, I'm not so sure about their chances in this game. Against both an Ember and a TA, they can get very scary later on. Weave is always a big factor. Dazzle, one of the absolute best late game supports. Undying, I would argue, falls off quite a bit past the minute, especially minute 40. So if they want to use the peak of their lineup, this is when. They're getting a Solar Crest on Undying now. That might be enough to high ground.
You talk about the late game as well. Like, it's even just the hero's strength. It's the fact that heroes are able to split push like this, primarily the Ember Spirit, and is forced a reaction out from the SF. Doesn't go for his next damage dealing item, he goes for BTs. So, SC can control the top lane while the rest of his team push out the bottom. Obviously, you have to be quick about it because the next assassin could catch you out, but it at least allows Newbee to be a little bit more aggressive, I should say, when they go for the push. They make more space by having these BTs on the SF.
Yeah. It's probably the best choice right now, just in order, because it's not that Newbee don't feel confident with 5-manning the high ground, I think. They just don't get the opportunity. And
there goes the Aegis.
It's one step in the right direction. He still has to be careful, though. Like, starting to split push alone with Shadow Fiend against the Nyx Assassin lineup is always really scary. Nyx and TA can easily kill him as a duo.
It's probably the reason, too, why they got both those Observer Wards for the Dire side on the northern half of the map. Trying to keep tabs of when Cloud9 move in. Because Nyx by himself could do some decent damage to the SF, but killing off the SF, probably not. But you'd have to smoke attack if you're going to kill off SC. But you can BT instantly down to that bottom lane.
Oh?
Is he going to... Okay. Understands that no one's here, or at least he thinks no one's here. Rizzu attacking from the tree line with the Searing Chains. And SC will mop up that bottom lane, but Brax is again pushing in the top. And already working his way into either that full Daedalus, or thinking about the Monkey King bar. Once he sees the SF picks up the Reaver, he may just go directly for the Daedalus. Because he won't need the direct attack of the Monkey King bar.
I think Daedalus is definitely the choice here. Strike nice, hard and fast. Well, he could also get MKB since there is the Crest. I mean, Crest is obviously very, very good with a 25% evasion, so it's, I think mathematically, against the target that is crested, the MKB is still better. But against everyone else, obviously, the Daedalus will be better. And it's a little different than when the target has a Butterfly, because there's no guarantee that this Crest will always be able to be on the Shadow Fiend, whereas when you have Butterfly, well, then it is always on you, unless you flutter. So, We'll see what it's going to be from Brax.
Brax is really close to this Razor. They start with a static link, but he'll blink himself away. As BTs from Ritsu will bring him to the top lane, but this is exactly what Newbee.Y want. The only thing they want to have here more is the Earthshaker. He was too far away just to blink in, get the initial stuns. And with the defensive spirit of Ritsu, it was going to be a difficult task to get the kill anyway.
Full Satanic is now completed, so he did go for the very defensive build-up like you talked about. Well, of course, went for a little bit of a pit stop on the way with the Boots of Travel. At this point, I don't think Scotty is the choice, since that's, once again, probably a tad too defensive. With a Satanic in his inventory, he could try to go for a Daedalus. He can go for a Butterfly, so a little bit of a hybrid, but Butterfly maybe not the choice when you see TA is probably going for an MKB at this time.
Do you still go for the full defense? Because at this point, Nyx Assassin can still screw around with him a lot. Is it worth going in for the BKB as well?
Yeah, that's another good item that I'm actually kind of surprised he doesn't have by now.
It's unusual to go through like Satanic SY. It's without it.
Yeah, BKB will make it very likely for him to at least be able to use his Satanic and not just get chain locked down here.
But as you can see when he attacks into Ritsu, there are 2 attacks and he doesn't really remove that much life of Ritsu, because Ritsu's now finished up the full Skadi. So it's even harder. MSS is staring down SC. Support's in the neighborhood. He's got Dazzle as well as the Tusk Guard nearby, but...
Look at this gold graph. The last 5 minutes...
They just flatline.
Farm.
The experience goes the other direction.
Else. Yep.
The experience actually goes up for C9, so they're holding the advantage of that. And it is actually the Monkey King bar.
Yeah. So, addressing the crest here. And, of course, prepared for the potential Butterfly that could have come out from Shadow Fiend as the next item.
Brax just wasted his TP. He was TPing down to that bottom lane. So he's actually stranded on the northern part of the map. If Newbee are aware of this, they could BT down the SF and push in hard into that tier 3 tower before the TA can come back. Because she's still got 46 seconds before she can TP.
That's true. I'm not sure if they realized, though.
It was the TP was behind the tree line, so they didn't see it.
Uh-huh. Then they didn't realize.
It's just,
they might have seen the ring, right? If they noticed, paid very close attention. Ritsu. Oh, yeah. Ritsu's in trouble!
Yeah, it's real trouble. Where's the spirit, though? He gets out. MSS Courier snipes in the meantime. He had the Observer Ward and Sentry down, used Vendetta to walk inside the pit, and then, well, blinks up, takes out the Courier, and gets back out again. Using the distraction of mid, so the Courier didn't even move. It just sat there, dying.
This seems to be the playstyle of this new Cloud9 team so far in this tournament, just really emphasizing split push. And as we said earlier in the game, one key element that they've used previously in their drafts for it has been the Beastmaster, but they're doing a good job with both TA and Ember. Usually it was only the really Ritsu doing the hard part of the split pushing as TA, but in this game the TA obviously played by Brax and doing just fine here. Cloud9... I still can't believe that this gold graph is not... It's really not moving. Like, how is that possible?
Maybe it's a reborn.
It's a 50 gold swing.
That's
incredible.
Well, that's a drastic change in the experience graph and gold graph. You're still going in for the Butterfly SF. So he picks up the Talisman of Evasion after the Monkey King bar has been displayed on the Templar Assassin. And TA is still the primary source of damage. The Ember Spirit can just get lucky one time and get that crit off, and he's already done his job against the SF.
Yeah, the Talisman's obviously still great against Ember, but...
yeah,
I don't know.
The TA is your danger zone. The TA is what's going to really change the fight for the SF. That's his life or death. At least Newbee.Y now can have a second life. As well as Cheese, we're on the third Roshan, 37 minutes in. And Cloud9 are moving, Newbee.Y are moving as quickly as they possibly can. But this one, the SF doesn't have a slot. Unless he drops the Talisman of Evasion, he doesn't have a slot for this. So this kind of has to go the Razor.
And the Sigil is...
Cloud9's coming.
Really not flying the right way right now.
That's a problem. Undying needs to drop the Tombstone. Already uses a self-Glimmer Cape. Now the Tombstone is down. Roshan at 700 life. The Snowball comes in, and they're right on top of Roshan. Killed by the Dire. Picked up by Razor. The Slider Fist doing some work, but not really enough. The Requiem of Souls kicks out. They've already lost the Tusker. Nyx and Dazzle will join them in the grave. No way to escape. Brax didn't have to push that coming fast enough. Ember Spirit also adding pressure, which will force Newbee.Y back, but they got what they came for.
And more. Cloud9 could have let them have the Roche. I understand that they want to contest it, though. It's Aegis and Cheese, the third Roshan here, and it's just a constant source of advantage for Newbee.Young, but that was not the timing that they were looking for. And now Razor's going Axe. Now I think they mean business. All right, we got to start pushing high ground. We need an additional source of damage to get through it. Might pick it up instead of his drums and just go for it in a minute or two when he has it.
Would it almost be worth selling the drums and push during this Aegis time if he can't find that last little bit of money to pick up the point booster? Because he can just switch out the drums anyway.
Yeah, he could do that. I wouldn't mind seeing that either. But of course, with the Aegis slot, if they have a bad fight, it sucks having Soldier Drum. It's still a pretty good item with the 3 charges remaining.
Yeah, it would have only happened if he brought the 3 1k items out in the courier. So he didn't do it, which means he's got enough time to farm up the remaining 400 gold he needs. The Newbee.Y are already ready. They're at the C9 base. SC will just BT himself in at the moment. He's defending the bottom lane.
And Newbee are like, yay, we made it! We're
Razor?
at the base! No one is split pushing top! But now he's out of mana because mana burn is pretty good when you have a Shiva's Guard, I heard, so... Well,
the downside about having a Shivas as opposed to the AC.
I don't think he thought about that when he bought it. Maybe he did and he was like, well, it's still worth it, but that is quite a big annoyance for him.
Yeah. Especially when they've only got 1 Arcane Boots.
How much mana does his mana burn take away from him? He has 107 int. It's 535 mana. Damn.
That's a third of his pool.
Yeah.
Sleight of Fist doing some work. SC is so low. He has to use the cheese already. The Undying Tombstone's from being brought down by 1437, but the Shiva's Guard as well as that Razor ulti. It starts kicking in 1437 with the Shallow Grave. He's going to get 4 staff down, but the Echo Slam jump. MSS and Savage getting caught. The Snowball Protection doesn't come, only for Savage, and he's going in deeper on top of MR, but SF stands its ground, just throwing out the deeps. He's still got the Razors available as well. They're burned through the Templar Assassin Refraction charges, and Cloud9, they're dropping so quickly. They'll lose their mid-range racks. And Newbee.Y just want to get out of here. They got kills, they got buyback on the TA. The Sleight of Fist not coming out far enough to reach Newbee.Y. Oh, and these Glimmer Capes are also having their effect. That weave.
Brax should not engage here.
He doesn't want to. Like, he wants to make it worthwhile. The buyback worthwhile.
Well, his buyback saved melee racks. That's pretty valuable. But probably not enough. But still, if he didn't buy back there, they would have lost a second lane. So it saved melee racks and a second lane. That's a pretty good buyback. And
the gold graph can finally change for you.
Yep.
And it's a very steep dive. 12,000 on the net worth. It's 7,000 on the experience. And that's not even counting the time that Newbee.Y are now going to be farming while Cloud9 try and just pick up the pieces of what happened.
The experience graph kind of looks like a thumbs up. Right, the last part? Say yes, Toby. Yes, it does, Sind.
Yes, Cinder, and you're 100% right.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who saw that.
Saw it before this point. You are a genius, Cinderin.
You didn't have to. Don't exaggerate. Then people don't believe it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. I could see that.
That's gonna be totally believable. That's my legitimacy. That's legitimate excitement and belief.
Legitimate belief in your point. Thank you. Okay, Toby, what are Newbee gonna do with this? So they got 1 Rax and a buyback, but they used Cheese and Aegis. So maybe they can't go again.
They don't have to force the issue. Like, they understand that they're ahead in the game right now. They can wait for next Roshan. You already feel like you're going to be able to win at the Roche fight. So it's just about establishing map control and vision. Nothing much more. Like, okay, what have you even got? Is that a...
This Axe on Razor does give them an easier time at pushing. But it's still risky. Sieging high ground into a team that has this farmed Ember and Templar can very quickly backfire.
Yeah, that's why they need the Aegis and Cheese. But they can also get the pickoffs outside the base. Latrak almost has the full Scythe of Ice.
The problem with waiting for the next Aegis and Cheese is that we're approaching the point when Ember is so strong that they gotta start worrying.
Yeah,
but that last fight was okay.
It's smoke, it's gank. You use the Scythe of Ice to get the initiations off. The SF like just brings in the damage. You got a lot to work with on that front.
That's true.
So, but you need to just make sure you got a favorable trade-off.
If they catch TA, the game is over. So that's probably what they're hoping for. And now they get a really valuable piece of information like, wait a second, no one is mid? Okay.
Well, they're all together anyway. This is Newbee.Y holding hands. That's 2.5 minutes until Roshan. Possibly. They're still looking
lucky.
good.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's an issue waiting for the next Roshan. It's just the question is how far ahead they think they are and how close Cloud9 are to big items, because Ritsu is in a position now where he can try to buy a Daedalus or an MKB, and it's going to upgrade his damage by a really significant amount. That could be a problem for them to deal with, even with Aegis Cheese.
They're running down mid. The Sigil's over the top of the team, but Newbee.Y all smoked up. Sentry Wall is obviously not going to reveal anything, and there's no dire vision inside the base. So the SF Shadow Blade's in, so he gets the vision up, but because he does that, the smoke breaks and he's visible underneath the Sentry Wards. Newbee.Y instantly realized this by having that gem over on Ellie.
This weave might not have been that good, actually.
It's very early.
It's expiring when the creeps reach the base, so this is a very big part of Cloud9's damage. I think this would be enough for Newbee.Young to actually consider going high ground. Yep, indeed.
Yep, Weave expires. They turn on the Aghanim's ulti of the Razor. That Nyx still doing a lot of damage to the Razor, but the Mech Charge repairs a lot of it. And TA, at a very long way, they burn through the Refraction now and start dealing the damage into that Razor. TA's got nothing to work with apart from the Shallow Grave. It's an extra lifeline, but Brax, he can't live forever. He is not immortal. 2 minutes on the sideline. The XSM keeps the control up over on the Ember Spirit. And can he jump back out again? They go through 3. Ritsu will survive, but Newbee.Y, what of value was really lost?
They have level 4 Soul Rip. The moment the creep wave spawns here, he has a lot of healing in the tank. They have 3 urn charges. Ember's gonna do what he can, but I'm saying only has Daedalus and Battle Fury as damage items. It's decent, but it's just not enough.
It's nice when he gets the crit on Ellie, but you can keep SD on the front lines. He's got the Satanic back off cooldown already, so they can battle into Ritsu and that Hex going to work all the way from the Lesh. The Shallow Grave will keep Ember alive long enough to get himself back to base, but 1437 may not be so lucky. SC, well, he doesn't have a crit, so he won't find the quick pick, but they're already taking the melee racks, while Cloud9 is trying to chip and keep them out. They still don't stop the objectives being taken by Newbee.Y.
And that fight in the mid lane, it just goes...
Razor? Oh, that's a confident TP. And now with the double stun out from MSS, they may just have to turn and fight. The BKBs are up. Razor, that Shallow Grave again, allowing the Ember Spirit to keep fighting, but he's hexed up. Can they keep the control with the Fissure Stun? It keeps the Dazzle off the field, and the Ember's now down for 1.5 minutes. They can chase out as the BT's forward, trying to get that extra distance for the SF. And Savage snowballs off cooldown. He's got shards. He can at least delay his death. The shards.
Oh, very nicely placed.
Man, those broad shoulders just can't get past the tree line. And Savage will be able to escape.
Roche is spawning in a moment.
A great conductor.
If they go and check that now, they have it, but
that's such an early spawn too.
The Templar Assassin, see, this is the problem that they have. She's really farmed, but you can't engage like this into a Razor when he has BKB turned on. He will just... Or I think he might have engaged when it wasn't turned on, but it was just a Nyx stun that was expiring. And the moment Brax goes in, he uses everything. Refraction, Blink, BKB, tries to lay into them, and 4 seconds of Static Link, and he's just useless. So they have to try to play around this Razor so it doesn't happen. But it is very difficult. It's a very good counter pick to TA when you have this amount of farm.
TA might be in more trouble now. The SS building an Abyssal Blade. So you jump in close, or even with the Ember Spirit's been escaping by the skin of his teeth. Ritsu has been so lucky, because the Shallow Graves will be taken up by the Templar Assassin, so he just needs to survive long enough that he can spirit himself away. But with this Abyssal Blade, the controlled time of Newbee.Y is just going to increase even more.
It's an interesting trend we're seeing right now. LGD, in their game against Team Secret, they went for 2 Abyssal Blades, one on a Shadow Fiend and one on a Gyro, just to get that extra bit of lockdown on their carry. So it can't really be a coincidence. I thought it was just an LGD thing in that game to deal with an Ember Spirit on the enemy team, but
it's a little old school to do it.
Piece out of the book. I don't know. I can't remember. I didn't go to that school.
I remember I was in the school of Dota about 2 years ago. 4-star from MR's already been used, and Roshan down for the count. Cloud9 will arrive, but do they have enough? The Aegis Mall's in the hands of the Razor, and they do actually find Ellie up on the high ground, and he instantly pops to Brax, but do they have more than enough damage? SC gets that ulti off, and Brax, the Shallow Grave will give him enough time to fight, but do they still have enough? They get through too. They burn the Aegis Immortal, but really at what cost? The Ember spirits himself away. You've already lost Brax, and now 1437 will be hunted down like a dog. Even MSS, despite Carapace, gets him some space, and 1437.
Good blink.
A little bit of razzle dazzle, Glimmer Cape to get himself away. TP's away to safety. MSS not so lucky though. The plasma field, it will finish the job, but it was the early damage from the SF. He doesn't even have a deadlift and he hits that strong.
Yep. This is probably game. Another great escape from Ritsu. Super low again, gets away with the skin of his teeth, but 50 seconds should be more than enough, and without Templar Assassin, they're not holding this. Leshrac on the sideline, up in 15 with travels, and there is a way for him to TP on in mid in a moment. The current one will probably die before he comes in.
Well, the wave starts.
Radiant's top tower.
Wow, they really don't care. That Aghanim's damaged, and they move forward. They catch out the Ember Spirit for the moment. He'll spirit himself away. There's no mana on this Earthshaker. He doesn't have anything.
Under attack.
You'll have one fissure in a moment. Now, the Abyssal Blade being used, but the Ember Spirit not controlled long enough. Now with the Hex and the Lesh Stun, they will bring him down. That's 90 seconds on the side. Savage to drop as well. I think you're right, man. This is game. This is Megas. It's GG. Newbee.Y will take game 1 off Cloud9.
Now have Mega.
And after their great performance up against Team Secret, and now with this first game, they're looking pretty good to play in that final deciding match later on this afternoon.
Yeah. Once again, this is similar to the series of Cloud9 I watched earlier, where I don't feel like they're playing bad Dota. Like, the draft in this case has a very difficult time fighting Newbee.Young, but they don't run their heads against the wall until they just die and lose the game. They play the correct split push game, make the right decisions, and then 1 or 2 crucial times they don't.